She used to. She used to be a news assistant. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 2024 football press conference sponsored by Moe's. Today, joining us is head coach Atiba Bradley, linebacker Zach Bergman, and quarterback Luke Sampson. First coming up to the stand is head coach Atiba Bradley with opening statements.
Appreciate everybody coming out this afternoon, cutting your holiday weekend a little short, but we're excited to get rolling as we get ready for our next opponent. Last week was a little disappointing. I went on the road and played Midwestern State. Took an L. It was a close game. I think we learned a lot about ourselves in terms of when we're clicking, what we can accomplish, but we understand the urgency to be consistent as we go throughout the game, and that's really what hampered us. I mean, we won the time of possession. We were able to run the ball in spots. Defensively, we were able to get some timely stops, but what we learned is we've got to get more stops. We've got to do a better job maintaining the run and finding ways to make some plays. We had some untimely injuries, and not that these are excuses or reasons why. I've had a lot of questions. Nathan Glades will be out for the season. He sustained that in the last 10 days, and we've been trying to figure that out, so he'll be out. We lost, I think in the first or second series, Mona went out, who spoke to you all last week, and our center, Joaquin, went out. So we had some injuries. We hope to get those guys back for moving forward. I know there were questions about Akeem Gilmore and Deontay Campbell. I'm not a load management guy, so those guys were injured, but we anticipate getting those guys back this week and being whole as we get ready for the Gorillas.
Coach, I think last time we talked, you described your performance as a little bit sloppy. So coming into this week, what are some of the things you guys need to clean up?
Well, it's not one of those situations where, hey, we got to start over. Oh, we got to find a new O-line. We got to find a new quarterback. We got to find a new D tackle. No, it's one of those things where we just got to be cleaner, and that's everything from our blocking assignments. That's everything to tackling better. That's hitting open windows as a tailback. Defensive line-wise, being in the right spots. Defensive backs making the right communications, and so it's really just polishing what we already do. That'll be the big deal.
And coming into this week, you're going against Pitt State, Miners Bowl rivalry. This is a team that only allowed 3 points last week to Ferris State. So coming into this week, going against a defense like that, how are you game planning against that?
Yeah, throw that out the window, man. Rivalry games, I don't believe in. I feel like we're a rival with the MIAA. My goal is to build a program that contends for conference titles. And so, yes, proximity geographically, Pitt State is right down the road. But I want to beat Emporia. I want to beat Fort Hays. I want to beat Moet. I want to beat them all. And so do I want to beat Pitt extra? No. It just happens to be the game for this week. And they're a great program. I guess if there's an extra carrot on top, they're nationally ranked. So that would be a bonus to beat a nationally ranked team. But it ain't because it's the mascot. It ain't because of the town. It's because we want to win football games and prove that we're deserving to be in this league, and we're one of the good teams in this league.
Hey, Coach. Obviously, with this team this year, it's a new head coach for them. They got a new system. Get into a little bit some of the challenges of facing them, and how, in some ways, schematically, is this team different than what you're used to facing them in the past?
Sure. Well, he was the head coach was a coordinator there, so I think there's a lot of carryover from the defensive scheme. They seemed really similar. Anytime you have a new coordinator, there's going to be different flavors, but they're really similar in their approach defensively. Offensively, that's where it was quite a bit different, and anytime you bring in a coordinator, he's going to want to make changes. He's going to want to do things that he's comfortable with, and I thought you saw that a little bit in the first game. That their defense was a little further ahead of their offense, and not that their offense isn't good. Don't cut my sound bite. It's a really good offense. It was just you could tell they were in their first game, that they were figuring out who they are and what they do well and what their strengths are. And so Just like us, I anticipate they're going to make a big jump from week 1 to week 2. But like I said, they've got some continuity on the defensive side of the ball, but offensively is where they're quite a bit different.
What did you learn from last week's game for you guys?
I think the biggest thing that I learned that I can really look back and be proud of is that our guys never panicked. I don't, obviously it comes down as a loss in the win-loss column, but I feel like we ran out of time. Our sideline was confident. Our sideline was in it. Our sideline was fighting to the end. There was never a point where I felt like the wind left our sails until the clock hit 0. And I'll be honest with you, I think there was still disbelief when the clock did hit 0 that, oh man, the game's over. And so from that, I'm very proud of that. But the biggest thing is we got to make that week 1 to week 2 jump and get a lot better.
Gotcha. When you take a look at, I know a lot of teams or a lot of coaches everyone prepares for everybody, but when you look at Chad Dotson, the quarterback for Pitt State, what are some things that he does well that you guys are trying to game plan for on the defensive side?
Yeah, it's hard because he's such a poised player. I mean, he doesn't get rattled. He does his job. I think he's probably one of the top 4 or 5 quarterbacks in our league, and that's a statement because there's some dang good quarterback play in our league, and so he's right there with the best of them. And so from a defensive standpoint, it really will be just trying to control the line of scrimmage and make sure that we do a good job limiting the big plays. But like I said, we don't necessarily go in to stop him. We got to figure out a way to stop the offense because they have some talented players, and we got to figure out a way to slow them down.
Coach, what did you like about your team's play at the Midwestern State? I mean, you said you lacked consistency, but yet you were in the ballgame till the very end. And in some years past, that wouldn't normally be the case.
Yeah, well, I mean, and that's the thing. The fight never left us. There was plenty of opportunity to be discouraged. There was plenty of opportunities to kind of throw your hands up in frustration, and I don't think that ever happened. Our guys kept fighting. Our guys kept excuse me, that gnat. Our guys kept fighting and trying to make a play, and so like I said, from that standpoint, I was extremely proud. And what's crazy is we come in on Sunday and you watch the film, and you could see exactly why there was hope. You could see exactly why we were frustrated but didn't give up, is because the opportunities were there. Midwestern State's a good football team, and they'll win more games this year, but we feel like Missouri Southern lost that game more so than Midwestern State won that game. And that's nothing against Midwestern State and their staff. They did a great job. They schemed us up. They were in good position. They played their butts off. But we left some plays on the field, and we can't do that as we get going in the MIAA and the opponents we'll see.
Does it really matter when you play your geographical rival?
Don't use my words. No, it doesn't. Whether you play them at the end, whether you play them at the beginning. The one thing I'll say is every year that I've ever competed against Pitt State, they've always been well prepared. They've always put together a really good football team. And in my career, coaching and playing, I've played them at all different times of the year. And so I've never gone against a team where it's like, oh, man, they're struggling. We got them. It's a situation where they're a good program with good coaches and good players, and they're going to do a good job getting their guys ready to play.
Jim mentioned the being close down to the end. When you look at one play there right in the second quarter, do you feel like giving the ball right back after you got a turnover? Do you feel like maybe that play, when you look back, is one you wish you could do over?
Honestly, there was a 3-play sequence and they weren't concurrent. They were just kind of 3 plays and a couple drives. I think the personal foul on 3rd and long, which gave them a first down and kept their drive alive, allowed them to punt the ball from midfield, which then we took over as an offense on the -2, which then led to the safety. I think that exchange of plays was a big momentum changer. That's probably the one that sticks out the most. But again, even that happened in the first quarter, and we were able to recover from it. And so that's what I mean by it was plays here and there. A lot of people will point to a fourth quarter play or a third down play or a fourth, but it's really the first down play that led to the second down that led to the third down. So you follow the chain and unravel, as far as you can go and go down the rabbit hole. All these plays are important. There's not one that's more important than another. One might be a highlight or a signature moment, but it's the plays that lead up to it that we've got to do a better job so that that play isn't the make or break moment of the game.
And then it is obviously Miners Bowl rivalry night, like we've talked about, but it's also Autism Awareness and Youth Night. For this football game. Just talk about playing for a cause, and then also maybe what the youth of the game means to you guys. These kids getting to come out and watch you on Youth Night.
Yeah, I appreciate you bringing light to that, because we pick different themes throughout the year. Shout out Marky McCoy. We pick different themes throughout the year to bring awareness to these certain issues and things, and it's really to do that, to make sure that people are aware of some of the things that are going on in day-to-day for other people. The youth is super important. I think we all can remember idolizing an athlete, and going through the phases of having, I had Michael Jordan posters up on my walls, and being able to go to college games, and then you're always able to look up, and it kind of helps you, like, oh, that's what I want to be when I grow up. And you look at these people as mythical football players, not realizing that at some point you will grow and you'll be 6 foot and you'll be able to do some of the things that they're doing. And so for the youth, it's huge. I think it helps. I think part of our job is to continue to promote the game and make sure that the game continues on well past me and you and everybody else on my team.
Thanks, Coach.
Absolutely. Appreciate you guys.
Hello, my name's Luke Sampson. I play quarterback. I'm a redshirt junior. I'm working on getting my degree in business management. And after college, I plan to probably move back to Texas and get into electrical sales.
Luke, obviously last week a little bit of a tough game, a little bit slow start in offense. It seemed like you picked up some things in the second half, got a little more comfortable in that game. Coming into this week, what's kind of the game plan going against Pitt State?
I think the number one thing is just to be consistent as an offense and just like 4 quarters of the game, playing as hard as we can. Like you said, I think we started a little slow last week, and it took us a little while to get going. So just starting fast and being able to finish. So I feel like we were able to move the ball decently well last week, but finishing is where we struggled a little bit. So this week just focusing on being consistent and finishing.
And you bring in a couple new receivers. You got Draper Parker involved in this game a lot. Just kind of talk about some of the connections, kind of the new guys on the offense.
Yeah, it's a pretty new receiving core for me this year, but those guys have a lot of talent. Just all of us getting on the same page. We've been working hard on that, and I don't think last week was a great showing of that, but we definitely have it in us, and it's our goal this week to put that on the field and let that be known.
Last week it seemed like you guys were kind of running the ball pretty efficiently throughout the game. So, coming into this week, do you feel like you can maybe open it up a little bit or just kind of keep the ground game going and just a combination of both?
Hopefully a combination, but just whatever they're giving us, really. Whatever we feel is working, that's what we're going to stick with. But, yeah, just being confident as an offense and me being confident as well, like whatever I see, just trusting it. And if the run game's working, we're going to stick with it. And then when we got to open it up, we will. So just trying to execute on all levels and just going back to that consistency thing, just trying to always be consistent, whatever it is that we're doing.
Appreciate you. What's going on, Luke? With last week kind of being in the past, what's a couple things that you learned that you're trying to take away from last week's game, putting into this one?
I think just the mentality we had going into that game. I feel like we just kind of were looking. We felt like maybe they were just going to give it to us, or we, started slow and we didn't come out there with the right mentality. So I think just learning from that and being ready to go from the jump this week and putting 4 quarters of a football game together. We're going to have to be able to do that against these teams. MIAA is a tough conference, and every game's going to be a dogfight. So just coming out there and putting 4 quarters of a football game together.
With Pitt State being as strong as a defensive team as it is, what's kind of the game plan against the different schemes and looks that they give you?
I'd say just trusting my eyes. They do a little bit of moving around in the back half and stuff like that, so making sure I'm keeping my eyes up and paying attention to what they're doing, and just trusting my reads and taking what they're giving me, not trying to force anything or get too in a hurry or force shots or anything like that, just taking what they give me and being consistent.
Had a couple injuries last week. A couple guys went out and a couple guys went down. How do you kind of recuperate your group heading into this week?
I mean, I think it's got to be kind of, a next man up mentality. We got to be able to execute no matter what happens. The injuries and things like that, as much as, you wish they wouldn't happen, they do. So the next guy's got to be ready. We got to be able to execute and be efficient out there. So, I got trust in a lot of the younger guys. I mean, some of our skill guys are we're younger at those positions. So, I mean, they got talent, but we just got to step up and make plays when the opportunities present itself.
We already kind of mentioned getting into the flow of the game, and you had that one drive, and you mentioned finishing. You had that one drive where you guys were able to, I think it was 70-some yard drive and finish with a touchdown. Do you feel like the offense kind of got in rhythm at that point, and then how do you kind of build off of that one drive there and maybe have a few more here against Pitt State?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that we were a little bit more in rhythm on that drive, and we did do a good job of finishing. But there was many other drives where we, got past the 50 and then stalled out or something happened. And it's just limiting those mistakes and trying to stay ahead of the sticks as an offense. It's a big deal. So, limiting like the loss of yardage or the minus plays. Just trying to have a positive play every time, get what you can, and for me, it's not trying to force things, if taking the, dropping it off underneath if I have to, because, that could go for a first down or whatever. So just being consistent, trusting my eyes, and not trying to force anything.
And Coach Bradley already said, not making excuses with injuries, and you've hinted at it as well. But do you feel like, if you get some of those guys back that you missed last week, that you could see the offense look much different Saturday against Pitt State?
I mean, I think we definitely have some guys that are some different players, and they're very skilled, and I think they can help us out a lot. So they definitely make our offense better. I mean, I did mention the next man up stuff, and I think we can be efficient with whatever we have, and that's our goal, obviously. But yeah, we got some talented players that having them back would mean a whole lot to us, I think, and we could possibly look a little bit different. So yeah, I'm definitely excited to get some of those guys back.
I'll ask you the same question I asked Tebow. Just talk about playing on Autism Awareness Night and Youth Night, and playing in front of some of these youngsters.
Yeah, I mean, I remember being a kid, looking up to football players, no matter what college it was, and just thinking how cool that would be and stuff. And so it's important to get out there and show those kids that you care, and get out in the community and just show them that we're here for them and everything like that. So I think it's awesome, and I love that we can show awareness to that and be there for those kids.
Hey guys, what's going on? Redshirt linebacker Zach Bergman here. I'm going to pursue a degree in exercise science after college, and then we'll see where that takes me.
All right, Zach, last week got a big turnover in that game, and really the defense overall played pretty well on only allowing 16 points in that one. So coming into this week, what do you guys really need to do to kind of keep the momentum going?
Yeah, our job as a defense is to keep them under how much our offense scores, so we didn't do our job last week. Going forward, there's a couple of missed opportunities, missed gaps that we had, and that showed out. They broke a couple of plays loose, and our job is to keep them in front of us and not let that happen going into Pitt State week.
Seems like the pass defense was pretty good and not allowing too many big plays. Obviously, the run game was a little bit different, but Pitt State's got different kind of combination pass run offense. So going against this offense, what's kind of the game plan mentality for you guys coming into this game?
Yeah, Midwestern State, they weren't a big passing team, and we knew that coming in. So our DBs did a great job in our secondary in controlling that. Going into Pitt, totally different game. Yeah, they're going to pass the ball, throw it around a lot more RPO game. We're excited for that. I can't wait for the ball to be thrown in the air. That's something we practice against our offense a lot. So it's real exciting to go against a team that's going to mix it up a little bit more, and we're going to be prepared.
You think this defense has kind of made a few strides after your first game this season? What did you really learn from that first game?
Yeah, we learned that when we're firing all cylinders, flying around with the ball, then we're a great team. We've got a lot of potential. It comes down to us as the game goes on. We got to keep our mentality of doing the right thing and doing the 1/11th on our defense.
coming against, geographical rival and all. I mean, a lot of kids coming around from the 4 states, know how big this game is. So, I mean, putting on a show in front of the fans, I mean, how cool is it to, maybe playing in the atmosphere that what's going to be like this on Saturday night?
Yeah, there's a lot of guys on that team that we know. We've been playing them for a while now. They're a great team, and the atmosphere is going to be great. And hopefully we perform for this atmosphere and continue to bring that atmosphere every game.
All right, I'll ask you the same question I asked Coach and I asked Luke, but from the defensive standpoint. Offensively, Pitt State, some shakeups, some changes there coming back from last season. What are some new things that you guys are learning right now from them, and what things did you learn from yourselves in that game against Midwestern State that you're taking into this week?
Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, Midwestern State, we had our ups and downs, but at the end of the day, we were flying around, and that's something to really look forward to as a defense. Pitt State brings a little bit different of an offense, even different than last year with a new coordinator and everything. But one thing they're really good at is consistency. I think that's important. They don't make very many mistakes, so we can't make mistakes either.
I gotcha. Obviously, no Antoine this year for them, but you do have Cleo and you do have Noah you got to worry about from the running back side of things. What are some things that they do really well in terms of their running game and kind of the O-line and how you game plan for that?
Yeah, like I mentioned, consistency they're great at, and those backs run really hard. So tackling is going to be important, running through when we hit them, make contact, keeping our feet moving, and that's the plan. I have no doubt our guys can do it.
Getting this one at home, how important is that? I mean, you have the crowd advantages, but how important is that for you guys in this situation?
Yeah, one of our team goals is to be undefeated at home, and I think that's rightfully so, and it's a very doable goal, and we just have to take this opportunity and roll with it.
I gotcha. How is this game going to set the tone for the rest of the year? I know it's like they're all important, but this one, how does this set the tone?
No matter who we're playing, this game sets a tone. Just you want to be a winning team, and you want to go into the next week with a win under your belt, and that's why it's so important.
Tell me about FATE, the helmet decal, FAATE. Explain that to all of us, and then just maybe why it's important to you.
Yeah, FATE: family, accountability, attitude, toughness, and effort. 5 words that we built this program on since I've been here, and I think if we live by those goals, then you see a good result.
Do you feel like that is kind of a motive for you and for the defense to kind of, I guess, are you driven by that decal?
Yeah, no, totally driven. If you go into any of our meetings, you go to our locker room, that's something we see every single day, and we take pride in seeing that and living up to that.
And then last thing, I'll just ask you about the Autism Awareness and Youth Night as well. Just talk about what it means to play in front of some kids that maybe look up to you.
Yeah, no, autism awareness and having the youth is super important for us as players and leaders in the community. My mom's an occupational therapist, so I've dealt with kids with special needs my whole life, and it's super exciting to be able to step on that field and represent them as well as the youth in the community. Hopefully we'll have the opportunity to go to a couple schools in the area and get to know those guys, and having the youth behind your belt allows the community to be behind your belt. So, yeah, super exciting. Awesome. Yeah, thank you guys.